Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. This is an important video and I would believe that this would benefit everyone irrespective of which class you are in. And I'm making this video on the specific request of a parent of a student, of an SWS student from Bengaluru. Let me start by asking you a few questions. What is a note? Uh, or notes as all of us make? My definition or my expansion of this word called note is nothing other than excellence. Excellence E could also mean efficiency, right? So I do believe that this is the route you need to take in order to achieve excellence, right? Second question, why do you need to make notes? Okay, the answer is so that a day or two before the examinations or a week before the examinations, you do not need to read the entire textbook. The notes are a crisp being the keyword, crisp substitute for your textbook to help you do RRR. And I'm not referring to Rajamouli's film, I'm referring to revise, recall, and retain. Revise, recall, and retain. Okay, one more question. Should you make your own notes or borrow it from your friends or seniors? I believe borrowing is never a good idea. In fact, even our SWS notes, I always advise our students to make short notes from my notes. Okay, that would really be helpful because you need to own those notes. You need to own those notes means आपकी handwriting में लिखा होना चाहिए. You should have written those notes. That familiarity is very important when you read someone else's notes. Even if they are my notes or even if they are our faculty notes, you do not own them unless you write yourself on those notes or from those notes. Okay, because your handwriting and you have that kind of a relationship and you need to pay attention to that connection, that relationship. Okay, because at the end of the day when you write, it is your hard work, it is your sweat, and you end up owning it. Okay, so the basic material of course has to be good, which is of course important. Agar basic raw material hi kharab hoga, to your notes will also be bad, which is why I believe that if you take notes from our SWS notes, they are even better. Short notes from our notes, okay, or your textbook or your teacher's original notes, not something which has been sent over WhatsApp from some other source. Okay, now in this video, I want to make about 12 broad points. First point, what is it that you need in order to make your notes? Okay, basic funda. 3 different pens of 3 different colors, blue, black, and red. And what kind of pen? Any pen that you are likely to use even in your final examination, so that you start building a relationship of comfort with your pen. Your fingers should be used to holding that pen. In fact, earlier in an earlier video, I had recommended the Rorito pen, which I used to use at that time. Subsequently, their quality seems to have gone bad because the ink seems to dry off even though the ink shows. These days, I use this Natraj pen. This is not a sponsored video. Okay, I am just telling you what I use. Okay, you are free to use or not to use it, but I believe that this writes well. In fact, my daughter also at her college uses the same pen. Okay, then the other thing which you need is 2 highlighters, pink and yellow. Okay, these 2 highlighters you need in order to highlight whatever you need to ensure that it catches your eye. So these 2 highlighters are important. Then you can have this post-it stickers. You know, I don't have the big ones, but I have only the small size one, the ones like this, which you can remove and stick it onto your page. Because in case if you have forgotten to leave space and if you remember some point later or you come to know of some point later, you can use this post-it stickers on top of the page so that you don't write it 4 or 5 pages later and you may never be able to go there or may forget about it. So that's something very important. Ruled paper, notebooks, ideally, you know, of whatever size that you get out there in the market. Okay, I don't have it out here. I think I have it somewhere over there. Okay, now second point, now that you have taken care of the infrastructure, let's get down to the specifics. Do not blindly copy from the textbook to your notebook, because if that was the idea, you might as well use the textbook. है ना? So do not blindly copy from the textbook. Then now you may ask, how do you then make your notes? See, use short forms. For example, cannot be written as for example. For .eg. You don't even need the for, frankly. Minimum, min, maximum, max, So, therefore, 3 dots. Okay, so that's the count because coz. So, you need to write short forms, not long forms of words. So, your short forms are very important. You can make your own codes. Okay, because see, the idea at the end of the day is that you need to make smart notes. प्रिटी नोट्स नहीं बनाने हैं, किसी जूनियर को इंप्रेस नहीं करना है ताकि वो अगले साल बोले कि कि आप बढ़िया नोट्स थे आपके. You don't need to impress any junior, okay, in case if you lend it to a junior. Your job is to make those notes work for you this year, okay. That's the only objective, okay. You can use a combination of different languages, English plus your vernacular language, be it Hindi or Tamil or Bengali. If you can write in those languages, you can do that. Anything which helps the process of recall better for you, because as I say, your notes are like a love letter to yourself, okay. वो लव लेटर पढ़ के आपको एक हफ्ते पहले एग्जाम से पहले खुशी होनी चाहिए. यू शुड नॉट फील अरे मैंने क्या लिखा है, आई कांट इवन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई हैव रिटन. That should not be the sentiment 1 week before the examination, okay. So remember to write a good love letter to yourself, okay. The codes you have to understand. बाद में पता चले कि ये कोड से क्या लिखा था मुझे याद ही नहीं है what it means, okay. Use keywords in a definition. Most important, the most important word in that definition should be written, so that when you read that word, you are able to construct an entire sentence around it. You do not need to write the entire definition, just the keywords, okay. Abbreviations, use symbols, use flowcharts, use tables, use circles, use arrows, okay. Anything which will make the process of understanding that much easier, okay. As I said, use this kind of highlighters and different colors in order to make that job easier and smarter, okay. Another point that I want you to bear in mind when you write is that, for example, this page, okay, this page, leave this space, leave the space on top, make a line here and leave space on this side and leave space at the bottom also. So all 4 sides, the two sides which are referred to as the balconies, the bottom area, the roof area, ensure that you leave space so that later on, if you know any point, of course you can use these post-it stickers, but apart from that also you will have space on all 4 sides in order to scribble at the last minute, okay. So you leave space on all 4 sides, okay. That's one more thing. And after a big chapter, any chapter, let's say nervous system in biology, leave about at least 2 to 3 pages after that, so that in case if you come to know of any important questions which you want to write in your notes, you do not have to write it some 10 or 20 pages later जो कि बाद में याद ना रहे. So leave about at least 2 to 3 pages after every big chapter, most definitely. Another thing is that which we used to use as students was to highlight the importance of a point by making stars, okay, or just writing. What I used to write was VIP, very important point. So wherever you think it's something important, you either make stars, and depending on the importance of that particular point, make 3 stars or 4 stars or 5 stars, or just write VIP, okay. This is very important, and especially for students who are preparing for JEE or NEET, this becomes extremely important. One of my favorite abbreviations when I was a student was NTF, not to forget. Okay, NTF, not to forget. So you see VIP, you see those stars, you see NTF, you know that, okay, this is something which I have to definitely remember. Or you may want to write that a particular point is super important. So you may write, using a hashtag, killer point, okay, or hashtag superstar formula in case of chemistry or physics, right? So you need to use those hashtags also again to highlight those kind of points to your eye, okay. In subjects like chemistry, use circles, use boxes to remember formulae. Also ensure there is a lot of space around. Don't make it into a a rangoli of sorts, okay. Don't make it messy, but ensure that you are able to read it easily. Leave space, no problem, but ensure that it's easy for you to read it later. That's again very important. Subjects like history, use tables, tabular form, to remember important dates, important personalities. Again, tables, differences in civics, tabular form works brilliantly. Subjects like physics, the formula highlighted using a highlighter. One more trick which I rely on a lot and which I used to tell my daughter all the time was to rely on visual memory, and this works very well. You know, something which you may have scribbled on the top left corner of the page, you may be able to remember, oh, I had highlighted it with a pink highlighter. I had written this out there. That's the answer. Visual memory, especially if you have read it multiple times, works like a dream. So rely on your visual memory. Okay. Also remember that if your notebook is going to look brand new, and you take great pride in it that मेरा notebook देखो कितना साफ सुथरा लग रहा है, that means you have not used it enough. By the time your exam comes, तुम्हारे किताब के ये तुम्हारे नोटबुक के चीथड़े उड़ जाने चाहिए. It should be in a disheveled condition. That will show that you have really used it multiple times over and over again. So don't be obsessed with a neat and clean notebook. Be more particular that you should have read it multiple times so that pages crumble bhi ho rahe ho to farak nahi padta hai, but your retention is your objective. Okay. And read it so many times. You can read it in your school books, you can read it while watching TV, you can read it while having some snack. You can do it multiple times, not while you're having food, then your concentration should be on food. But you're having a snack, you can keep reading something, some chemistry ka formula, some biology ka diagram. You can keep seeing and keep using all your notes. Okay. In a subject like civics, yes, in a subject like civics, use flow charts, as I said, or the pyramid style chart in order to understand, let's say, the functions of the Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister, the President, the Supreme Court. Use pyramid or use kind of flow charts. Okay, that's again important. English literature mein kaise kare? You write the keywords of the story or the poem, the theme, the basic critical analysis of the chapter in point form, so that you know the basic points and then you can expand on that using the keywords. Okay. Finally, no harm if you write motivational messages to yourself on the sides of the page. As I said, this is your letter, love letter to yourself. So you can write, like I used to write, Sudhir, not to be forgotten. Not to be forgotten. Isko mat bhulna. You need to keep reminding yourself so that you are kind of engaged in a relationship with your notebook. Your notes become the most important resource that you should create for yourself. That's again something very important, and you need to tell yourself, I am going to crack this with the help of these notes. Okay, and it will be nothing other than excellence for each one of you. I hope this video has been of help. If you think so, please like the video, share the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.